Behind the doors of a seemingly perfect home, a three-act play unfolds daily. The main cast: a mother slowly forgetting the meaning of a genuine smile, a wife who has mastered the art of flawless pretense, and a husband unaware that his married life is a stage where his wife performs. Everything changes when a small camera, a simple gift meant to bring comfort, becomes the silent witness that exposes the bitterest truth. Mother Susanna, 62 years old, a widow and retired teacher. Her hands tremble gently, a legacy of arthritis earned after decades of hard work, raising her only child, RD, alone. Now she lives in that grand house, yet feels like a guest in the smallest room. In front of RD, her daughter-in-law, Raisha, is the picture of perfection, always ready to help, smiling sweetly, full of attention, but it's merely a performance staged for an audience of one. Raisha, 29 years old, beautiful, with a brilliant career in marketing. Before her husband, she is a loving wife and devoted daughter-in-law. But the moment Artie's car disappears down the road, the mask comes off. So slow, Mom. I could do so many things in the time it takes you to come downstairs. She whispers coldly while helping Susanna. She forgets to buy arthritis medicine, accidentally hides the TV remote, and most painfully locks away the cabinet containing photos of Susanna's late husband. I'll keep them somewhere safe, Mom, so they won't get damaged, she says, while keeping the key in her own bag. Susanna begins writing in a small diary, not to report, but to convince herself this is real, that this subtle cruelty is truly happening. Until one afternoon, Raisha finds the book. Planning to report me to Artie? She asks with a sneering smile. Go ahead. Who will he believe? The mother who's becoming senile? Or me who always looks like I'm taking perfect care of you in front of your own son? Her words are like whiplashes. But what's more devastating is this sentence. Artie loves me, Mom. Not you. You're just a burden we have to take care of. It was Artie who bought the small surveillance camera, a simple gift for his mother, who often complained of loneliness. Here, Mom, he said one Sunday morning, so you can see if our cat is playing in the living room while you're in your room. Susanna smiled as she accepted it, then placed it in a flower vase near the window. Raisha, who was preparing breakfast, only glanced briefly. How cute, she remarked lightly. No one was suspicious. No one knew that this 200,000 rupiah device would become the eyes that never sleep. One Tuesday afternoon, Artie came home early due to a severe headache. In his car, he opened the camera app not to spy, just out of habit to check on the cat. But what appeared on the screen made his breath catch. Raisha, with a cold expression foreign to him, throwing a dirty towel toward his mother. Wash it yourself! Trembling hands aren't an excuse. Then, deliberately standing in front of the TV. Just look at the wall, Mom. It's equally boring. But it was the final scene that shattered everything. Raisha, taking her mother-in-law's wallet, pulling out some bills. This is for the house cleaning. You can't clean anyway. Artie entered quietly, phone still gripping the recording. Raisha was saying, it would be better if you moved to a nursing home. Here, you're just what? Artie's voice cut through. Trash? Raisha's face paled instantly. The entire performance she had built over 2 years collapsed with that one word. Artie, I can explain. Explain what? That all this was just an act? That your kindness all along was just a performance? Raisha transformed instantly. Tears, apologies, excuses about work stress. But Artie only looked at his mother. Susanna sat quietly on the sofa, her hands trembling violently. It's okay, son, she whispered softly. I'm used to it. That sentence, I'm used to it, hit Artie harder than any anger. His mother wasn't angry. She wasn't demanding justice. Just resigned, as if this was the fate she had to accept. That night, after Raisha locked herself in their room, Artie sat beside his mother. How long, Mom? Susanna just shook her head. It doesn't matter, son. What matters is your happiness. But Artie knew. There is no happiness built upon the suffering of someone you love. The next day, he announced his decision. He and his mother would move to the small house inherited from his father. Raisha could come, with one condition: 6 months, to prove genuine change. Before leaving, Susanna said to Raisha, "I don't hate you, dear. I pity you. Because to feel powerful, you have to belittle someone you consider weaker." For the first time, Raisha fell silent, not out of fear, but because she was struck by a truth that pierced her soul. 6 months later, Susanna now lives in a small house filled with memory-filled photos and potted plants. Her hands still tremble, but her smile has returned genuine, without burden. Raisha arrives with a letter from her therapist and her deepest apology, but Susanna only smiles gently. "You don't need to be a good daughter-in-law for me. Just be a good wife for Artie." They no longer live together, but they learn to meet in the middle, not as warring in-laws, but as two human beings learning the true meaning of family. Sometimes, home isn't where the heart feels safe, but where we're most vulnerable to being hurt. Sometimes, family isn't about blood ties, but about who lets you remove your mask and still accepts you. And truth, it doesn't always win gloriously. But it always finds its own way through a gift camera, through a hidden diary, or through the eyes of a child who finally chooses to see. Because in life, the most dangerous enemy isn't the one who opposes you openly. It's the closest person who is only kind when there's an audience and transforms into an executioner when the curtains close.